do you find any time the funding has become the obstacle to you, and how did you manage that, if it is?
Yeah, funding is always an obstacle. So, I mean, everyone is trying to grow, and you require growth capital. And that's, so what are your sources of funds, right? I mean, you have either a strategic partner, you have a private equity or a venture capital investor, or you have the banks, right? So, I mean, you do pros and cons of each. Strategic investor obviously, can provide valuable, they can open doors for you, right? Plus provide capital. But the disadvantage of a strategic investor is they want to own you, right? So if you are willing to be owned by someone else, strategic investor could be a good opportunity. A private equity, I mean, the challenge is, they want an exit within 4 to 5 years. I mean, they are in the business of making money. So, if you are willing to accept the fact that, the terms and conditions that they're going to put on the table are going to be, sort of biased in their direction, sure, I mean, that may be the right situation for you. And of course, then you have banks. I mean, Mr. Anup left, who's from Axis Bank, but if you go to banks, they want your firstborn as collateral. So if you're willing to do that, banks is the right choice.
Sure, and each one of these options, as Brij said, has positives and negatives, right? And I suspect that his question comes from a basic kind of a difficulty we hear in the Indian startup marketplace, and that is there is a dearth of startup capital. So there are lots of people with good ideas, but there's no one who writes a $2 million check in the first meeting. It takes a long time. Was that the context of your question?
Right. That was the answer.
So it will be a good thing then, Brij, if you just compare a little bit about the funding ecosystem, because I have just heard 3 things. One is for your MDIndia, you bootstrapped it. For TiE, you went ahead and got a strategic partner in the US and in Express Clinics, which we'll talk about a bit later, but you also got a venture capital company or a PE investor. So could you tell us a bit about these experiences and how that has shaped some of the the businesses that have come together?
So, I'm also an advisor to a private equity fund. And what I hear from the other side of the table is, there are not enough good ideas in the Indian market. But, you're right in the sense there is a challenge for a startup company to raise capital. I mean, the only thing I can say is, bootstrapping is the best way to do it. I mean, prove. A lot of times, people bet on management or people bet on people rather than on companies. So if you think you have a great idea, then put together a business plan, put together a good presentation, and put together a proposal that people can't refuse. I think capital is available. I mean, 10 years back, there were hardly venture capitals in the Indian market. I mean, I remember there were like 2 or 3 big VC firms, but apart from that, I mean, it was mostly banks. I mean, and you have to keep your house and everything else as collateral to get any funding from them. But today, I mean, the amount of capital that's available in the market, I think there's plenty of capital.
Brij, we had an event just right here about only a couple of weeks back, in fact 3 weeks back, wherein we actually had a few investors, venture capital, seed fund, and one more, I think, SAC partners, right?
Yeah.
And we had a few entrepreneurs here, including one from healthcare. And apparently, the average number of presentations that were made to secure funding was something like 57. So ask yourself if you are kind of making that much of effort to get to so many people, because there's a lot of clutter, and you also have to find the right mix. And in this case, the experience that one of the healthcare entrepreneurs, my dentist, and Dr. Agarwal, she's here today, Sharma. My dentist person was here, and he actually got 2 rounds of funding in 2 years. One from the seed fund and second he got from this Dabur group, which is
Asia
actually
Asia Healthcare Fund.
right, which is so actually, and this because they were focused on healthcare, and so I think also to do with the sector that you're in. Any other question at this stage for Brij?
No, I
Yeah.
had a question about the mentoring actually earlier.
Yeah, okay.
See, obviously the mentor and mentee relationship is supposed to be based on altruistic grounds. But how do you protect the interests of the mentor also? I mean, it might happen sometimes that a mentor would lose interest. Does it happen?
How do you retain the interest of a mentor?
So what would be the interests of a mentor? What could be the legitimate interest of a mentor?
Well, I mean, one way to keep him interested is, offer him something.
Yeah.
Offer him, a small, token of your appreciation in terms of, either stock options or something or the other. I mean, all said and done, he is helping you grow your business. So, share something with him. I mean, that will keep him interested, that will keep him incentivized, and that will help you grow the relationship. Apart from that, I mean, you can find mentors who are going to be completely agnostic and may not want anything. But also remember, they'll have a significant pressure on their time as well. So it's not just you. I mean, it's hundreds of other people who are seeking their advice. So based on your situation, whether you want to, have a much more close, upfront, personal relationship versus, want to get a general guidance, you'll have to make the choice.
So are there professional mentors who actually do these, or it's always a person-to-person basis kind of a thing?
No, I mean, you can always hire a consultant and pay him on an hourly basis.
Yeah,
You can
that-
become your mentor very easily. So, there are professional mentors, there's no doubt about it.
Let me just give a perspective to this point about mentors. It helps to have some stake in the company, etc. But I think that is not something that mentors necessarily look for. I have seen most mentors look for very, very committed people who have a good vision and are very sincere to the purpose that they are at. If you just like Brij talked about investors, where investors say we are not getting enough good opportunities to invest, you go and ask a mentor and you say I am not getting enough good mentees to mentor. So obviously there is a mismatch there in the sense that some companies, I mean, we have people who want mentors, and on the other hand mentors are saying that I am not getting good mentees. So I think it does require a lot of investment and keeping the mentor excited about what you're doing and keeping in touch and be very sincere about it. And mentor realizes that business will change, your pressures will be there. We at TiE run a very active mentoring program, and today I don't know if any of our mentors are here, but no, today they are not here. They are actually meeting tomorrow morning because we have a mentee presentations. But having said that, one of the challenges we have as mentors is mentees are not serious enough sometimes, right? So because it's a two-way street, right? So there's always going to be that challenge, and we in TiE don't ask for any stake or whatever it is, and we in fact say for the 6 months that you are part of TiE program, don't have any of those considerations. Post that if you want to have, it's all up to you. But I completely agree that mentors are actually key to this whole thing. In fact, now TiE Pune, Brij, what we're doing is we're expanding the mentorship program into an angel investment program, because we see some really good companies who we see for a period of 6 months, a year, and they need some little bit of capital, and so we kind of have that plan, which will probably launch in some period of
That's a
time.
great idea. A very good idea.
And we hope that will make a difference and give that initial startup kick to to the entrepreneurs to do that initial thing and then go to the next level.
Yeah.
Any other question here before I continue with mine? Okay, so we talked about various types of funding, and that was one of the questions that I was having on my agenda as well. So thanks for pointing that out. So coming back to MDIndia and the TPA. So how do you now MDIndia at 24% market share as you see it, and as you said, we are hardly 3% of our people are insured. So it seems like a fairly big headroom for you to grow. Talk a little bit about MDIndia's plans and what it plans to do, etc.